All right, you guys. I don't know what happened. Like OBS. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, OBS just completely flunked out. I think my internet like had a moment and it caused OBS to flunk out because for a second there I couldn't even hear you. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know what happened there. But we good now. We good now.
All right.
So
So
I guess you want to just start back on
you
we
want to start it over?
talking about on We Have a Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're apologize there, guys. I don't know what happened there. Sometimes OBS it they make it for so many things. Sometimes I feel like it messes up. I don't know. That's the first time it's ever crashed like that though.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Sometimes we have audio issues. That's the first time it's ever just crashed. Because usually it's a YouTube issue. I don't think that was a YouTube issue. I think that was an OBS issue. But anyway, well, let's go ahead and move back on to the conversation, man. We were talking about We Have a Ghost, and King hits me up and asked me to watch this movie. So I did, and I want your overall opinions on the movie so far first. Because I know that you had a certain. I haven't talked to you about this movie, so I'm just curious on your opinion on it.
All right. First, I had saw a trailer probably a month ago because I'm always looking out for what's new, what's coming on, what we can watch, right? And then it was very very vague because I thought it was like the last movie with the Marlon, one of the Wayans brothers. I think it was Marlon who did like a ghost scary Halloween thing, and I said, oh, well, they pretty much got something, popping, with that too. But there's Anthony Mackie. Now, Anthony Mackie, if anybody knows that he's a Disney guy, he plays the new Captain America. He plays the Falcon, and I'm not really a fan of Anthony Mackie. I'm not a fan of his acting and stuff like that. So reluctantly, I wanted to see this because I saw some elements that I thought was funny. Lo and behold, started watching the film, and as I'm dissecting the film, I start to see exactly what the film is about. The film is about fathers, and really not more so about a ghost that just happens to be a father. Well, a father that happens to be a ghost, a father that has moved his family around to try to find a place, and um, the emotional toll that you see the world stress on a father and expressing that through how they deal with the world. All right. So when you find this ghost, when after Anthony Mackie and his family moves into the house, he has two sons and his wife, and they move in after another family just abruptly leaves in the middle of the night, and the ghost slams the door, and they move into this house that is haunted. It's haunted by this ghost, and they don't know who the ghost is, but one of his sons, the youngest one, who's a musician, and he's a little eccentric. He's a little bit different. He's not just like every other kid. He's into his music, and that's pretty much what he cares about. He really doesn't care about anything else. And you come to find out exactly why he doesn't really care about too much other things later on in the film. But it's the father's trying to make this connection with his sons, and he has a certain connection with the oldest son. But the oldest son kind of fits the typical template of a jock, a kid that is self-confident, a
Yeah,
kid that
it
pretty
kind of
much
seemed
has
like
purpose.
the older son and the dad just had more in common than the
Yeah,
younger son.
and the younger son was a little bit more sensitive, like like his mother. Not saying that he had feminine tendencies. No, nothing like that. We call those children what is those children called? Not emo children. There's indigo children, right? And indigo children have a different feel of everything that's around them. A lot of the children that are born now are indigo children, and they have a sensitivity to the environment, have a sensitivity to emotions. You can't talk to them the same way that you do children from my era or the era right after my era, right? So it's a different way that you need to learn to communicate with them, and they don't react to the environment the same. With that being said, when said young child, and he's not young, he's in high school, all right? So we don't have little kids, but when he interacts with the ghost, he's not afraid. He actually finds it hilarious. And this is the way that indigo children see the world. They see the world in a different spectrum, not fear, just exploration. And they want to understand, and they have emotions tied to these things. So from that aspect, when you see that, then you start to understand, okay, this is going to be a different movie. But then you got to start looking at the layers of the movie. And I just started finding different things and different layers in the movie that I didn't think that was going to be there. It is not a typical ghost film. It's definitely not that. Do not go there thinking this is a ghost film that is a boo-hoo-hoo scary ghost film. Oh, no. There is moments in it where there is pure hysteria laughing when they have a medium show up to the house, and she's a fake fraud medium, and she gets a chance to see a real ghost. And it's really steeped in our era now, right? With the social
Especially when he
media and
like
stuff.
melted his head off or something
That
like
was
that.
crazy, right?
At,
It's
at for a second there, I thought, oh, this dude's more aggressive than he's letting on. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
But the kid kept edging him on. He told him he wanted to give him edgy, give me a little bit more. Because the ghost was really not malicious or maleficent. It was more of a timid ghost. Anytime he was scaring people, he was scaring them to get him out of his space. Like he wanted to be left alone because he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember and he couldn't talk. Right? So he couldn't remember and he couldn't talk, and he had a name that was on his shirt called Ernest. So the world
And
thought
the
his
the
name is Ernest.
the ghost is played by the dude who plays I think Hank in The Stranger Things.
Yes. So if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you understand why Netflix uses a lot of the same uh, individuals, because they keep a common thread. They find a core audience that does like certain things. And, he's a very likable character. And in this movie, he didn't disappoint. This they don't censure in the house. So it's not a house haunting. This thing actually has legs and it has motion, and it goes to different locales. This is one of the films where it's has something to do with a ghost, and you have a high speed chase. That's something that you would never see. So there's other aspects to this movie, and it has a tenderness to it, has a innocence to it, and it taps into the child nowadays, the child that's not being heard. Like, how do you feel like when you're talking to your parents? It made me take a reflection upon myself. Like, was there times when I was talking to my children and I didn't hear them, or when I was too,
Or you
how can I
weren't
say,
listening.
Generation X or whatever, Z, whatever the hell I am, and I'm talking to an indigo child, and the indigo
You a
child
boomer.
really doesn't understand me.
Yeah. Um. You want me to go on this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I want
actually
to
didn't
know
like
your
this
opinion.
movie
You didn't like it.
at all.
Tell me why.
I just with ghosts in it,
Right.
it's neither got to be completely on the left as comedy or completely on the right as horror. I feel like this just didn't hit me on either side.
Pause.
I almost fell asleep watching it. Like, we'll be
I
real
feel
with
you.
you. Like, it just I
My
didn't
wife
like,
didn't like it at all either.
huh?
My wife didn't like it at all either.
I didn't find no like entertainment. I just felt like this movie was interesting in the fact that it didn't know if it wanted to be a ghost film. It didn't know if it wanted to be an action film. Like,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, come on,
It
man.
didn't.
Like,
It didn't know if it was going to be a teen exploration film, because there's parts in it where it's that teen movie where you have that puberty moment. The young boy and the girl. And the ghost is like,
yeah, it
so
just I personally didn't like it. I thought it was a very average movie. Like, and it's not saying that it's a bad movie. I do feel like it's got some heavy hitters in it, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of good acting that goes on it. But I didn't feel like the story really enticed me. Like, for the most part, the moment after the story was over, I was grateful. I think the only movie I didn't like more than this
Hmm.
was that Shotgun Wedding movie. I didn't like that movie at
Oh yeah,
all.
I couldn't stand the J Lo movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
that movie was horrible. This
so
movie's better than that movie, but not by much. Like,
all right, my thought on it is, if you're a father right now and you're my age, or the age right below it, that generation, and you're having a hard time trying to connect with your teen, there's a scene where the father just releases all that bravado and all that feeling like he knows it all and feeling like he has everything in control. And he tells his son exactly how he feels, exactly who he is, that he didn't know who he was, that he was unsure. And he was trying to find himself, and that's why they move from place to place. And in a lot of that stuff that he was doing, trying to find himself, he inflicted trauma onto his youngest son. The oldest son was a little bit older, and he's there for the ride. He understands his pops a little bit more, but he explained to his son that the night that he was born, that it was raining, just like the night that they're standing there, and he just wanted to get him to the hospital, get his mother, his wife to the hospital, the son's mother, before she gave birth in the car. And he said if God allows him to, he wants to be the best father that he can be. And circumstances changes things, but I just thought it was a heartwarming film when it came to that. So as a person like myself who has daddy issues, this allows you to try to work out those traumas and try not to inflict those traumas on your kids, because I have kids and I have daddy issues. So the movie kind of talked to me in a way. And then the ghost I told you is a father, and he has a kid, and it's all centered around the mysterious circumstances that this ghost seems to be on the other end of being alive. So when the mystery starts to unfold and the mystery happens, because it is a plot twist to it, and the mystery happens, and then you actually find out exactly what happened and what goes on, and there's some Ghostbusters stuff to it, and it's it's a sensitive moment where you get a chance to see the insights of a father trying to reach back from the other side to his kid, to try to find out if his kid, he was still here, trying to figure out what happened to his pride and joy. So it was a sensitive film. It was good. I thought Anthony Mackie, not a huge fan of him, but this film, he pulled back a lot of that stuff that I don't like, the overacting, and I guess he played to his strength and he played to his base, and it cast him in a perfect role. So I didn't like him in Black Mirror. Um, I really didn't like him in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Really don't like him in Captain America. But I really did like him here. So I mean, I guess this bodes well for his career going forward. I guess he found a little bit more depth to his acting chops, and he's actually giving a little bit more of himself when it comes to the screen. So, me myself, I'll recommend it as something that you could watch with your kids. It's not anything that's going to make you feel embarrassed when you're watching them. It's a real three popcorn movie. Yeah, I put it on the equal footing as that man. Um,
you think this movie's just as good as Ant-Man?
so
Oh my
I give
god.
it a three popcorn. But I thought it was like I said, my wife didn't like it, but I did, and I guess it's going to talk to a specific demographic. And I guess I've been in his shoes, so I was sensitive to that, and I damn sure don't want to be in the ghost shoes. So I guess I was sensitive to that. But other than that, I thought it was pretty decent, and I thought it was pretty good. And I think it's something that's worth a watch. Like if you don't have anything, you got you want to sit down with the kids, just watch it. Or if you just want to tune in and check out something that you might check out for yourself, it's a good watch.
I give it a 2.
I feel you.
Like it doesn't hit, like, I think maybe you had more to like sympathize with the movie and have a little bit more emotion towards it. I
Yeah.
didn't care about I didn't care about the ghost. I didn't care about pretty much none of the actors in the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't care about nothing. Like it's just like, especially when the ghost goes mobile. That's all I'm gonna say. At that point, I was about to turn this off. I ain't gonna lie to you, King. I was about an hour and a half into this movie, and I was like, I think I'm in. It's a wrap. And I was like, now let me go ahead and finish it. But I do think. Look, let's be real. Everybody got Netflix.
Yeah, for real.
The majority of the population seem to have Netflix. If you're bored on an afternoon, go and watch it. We have Ghosts. I don't think it's not worth watching. I don't think we've ever said anything's not worth watching besides maybe
Right.
Ant-Man. But but I don't think it's definitely not one of those things where we're having a conversation later on in the year. I'm like, man, you should go watch that. We Have a Ghost. That was a great movie. Someone brings up we have a ghost in a Discord server. You know what I'm gonna say? I didn't like it. Like
I feel you. I feel you. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna get a lot of fathers that are having a hard time, that are my age and trying to break that sensitive barrier, uh, and understand. I highly recommend you go look up Indigo Children, and it give you a greater understanding in certain aspects of how we deal with our children nowadays. Because we tend to say that they're really sensitive, and he was really belligerent and real rough with him early on, but it wasn't something that was mean spirited, right? It was natural, normal ribbing from our era, and that doesn't work well now. It doesn't work well with children now. And if you watch the film, and I pointed it out to my wife, that the kid has his own certain style of dress, his own certain style of attacking issues, and it's really thought provoking when you actually just get a chance to watch him act. And I like him as a young actor. He's really good as a young actor. Really good work that he put forth, and I'm looking forward to the next stuff that he does do, because he did strike me as a very well trained actor. Him and his love interest, the Asian girl.
you know what I think that Netflix and that really do well for the industry is they give a lot more opportunities for people to get noticed.
Oh yeah,
Because it used to be back in the day, there's only a few opportunities you had to get noticed, and if you wasn't noticing those opportunities, it was a wrap. You was doing B-rated movies. I feel like Netflix has gave a lot more people that wouldn't have access to an outlet to act a lot
yeah,
more acting opportunities, and that spawned Amazon coming around. That spawned Peacock. They're having original exclusive stuff. Spawned
yep.
a lot of these little places that we can actually look at these stuff and really get a feel on what's going on. But that's pretty much all that we got going on when it comes to that movie. Like I said, King gave it a 3. I think he's bugging a little bit, but it is what it
Listen,
is. I gave it a 2. I think that's the correct score.
he gave okay. So look at me and look at Attic. Attic doesn't have any children, and well, it probably got a little bit of daddy issues. But I got a little bit of daddy issues, and I got kids, so I identify with the kids and his kids in the film. So I give it one more popcorn.
I feel you. I feel you. All right, so let's talk about it, man. We are a
Ooh,
little bit far behind when it comes to The Last of Us. Okay, so we got to do
that's what
2
I'm saying.
episodes today. Got to do episode 6 and episode 7. I assume
Mm.
you've watched both episodes, King.
Of course, come on.
Yeah.
I got a question for you when we get to episode 7. But episode 6, I pretty much remember from the video game, and it pretty much was pretty good. I mean, it was other stuff that was added to it to get them to the space. Because remember, they were going to find Tommy. This
Mm-hmm.
is the whole thing. They had to get to the outpost where Tommy was, and by hell or high water, he wanted to see his brother. Man, he wanted to get to his brother, and that was something good to watch. It was something good to see. But I want to talk about the opening scene with the couple in the cabin.
Yeah.
I
Let's
think
start with
couple in
6
the
though. Okay,
cabin was
so
dope.
episode 6 was pretty much them finally meeting up with Tommy. Clearly the whole show has been kind of directed going that direction, and I actually liked this episode. I felt like this episode, it stayed true to the game to enough to make me satisfied with it. I still have my gripes. I still
Right.
think that they're intentionally staying away from violence in a post-apocalypse world, which makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense to me.
Is that
Coming
true though? Is that really true for
is
this
definitely
episode,
true.
Addict? Really, Addict? In this episode, really,
Well, there
Addict?
ain't real no reason for them to be in beef because they were in like a civilization half the episode.
Right.
And what's funny is just like I think that's my biggest gripe with the show. I
You want blood.
do with 5. With I really liked episode 1 and 2.
Right.
2 started losing me there at the end.
I
I
like
did
episode
not like
3.
episode 3 because they deviated so much from the original story.
Right.
4 was okay. I really liked 5. 5 was a good episode.
Okay.
6, I think episode 6 showed that you can deviate a little bit, but still maintain that true point when it comes to. I mean, they still went to school. Well, that's
How
in
do you like
episode
the
7.
how do you like the character swap for Maria?
I felt like that didn't mean anything. Like I know a lot of people got upset with that. I get some characters are so iconic
Mm-hmm.
that they kind of have to stay a little bit towards that original like
Yeah.
aesthetic. But I felt like Marie was like a mid-tier person in the game where
Right.
she wasn't extremely important, she wasn't like not important. So you could easily change that without it really messing too much up. They didn't have any kids, so that's
Yeah.
not going to mess anything up. Well, yeah, but you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
when you race swap too, you got to look at it changes the family too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
they did it to Joel in the beginning. I think they set it up in the beginning with Joel's daughter being of mixed heritage. I mean, it's because I go back and I play the video game, and she was blonde hair. So
yeah, but I think the reason you could do that well is because it never really showed
white.
Sarah's mother.
I mean, but
So
you can extrapolate from the child's color.
well, no, I'm not. But
Yeah,
I'm talking about in the game.
and
You
again,
never
yeah,
really knew it, so you
we
could
didn't
change
know
something
all
like
that
that.
stuff
And
in
it's
the
not going to
game.
change anything drastically because you never really knew who the mother was to that degree. So
And
you could
Sarah was
change that.
killed very early on.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's not there enough to make a huge impact on the story.
Yeah, it didn't, and it's just me when I go back to it, right? Because right now, what I was trying to do, and Destiny want to pop up, and Fortnite want to have me finish off
Yeah,
this.
I really didn't want to do this podcast today because of Destiny. I ain't
I,
gonna
I feel
lie.
I feel everything that you're saying, but at the same time, I had to watch the show. I got back home and I had to watch the whatchamacallit, We Have a Ghost. So I watched We Have a Ghost for those 2 hours. All right, when I should have been napping or when I should have been playing Destiny, but at the same time, seeing this and playing the game and going back in and playing the game because I really don't remember The Last of Us Part 1 as much as I remember The Last of Us Part 2. I remember The Last of Us, I remember key moments in The Last of Us Part 1, but Last of Us Part 2 is still fresh on my mind. So I have a more of a tie. That's why when you hear me talking about the genius of Neil Druckmann, it's really for the boundary kicking in that he did for The Last of Us Part 2. But this episode here eloquates the reason why I like it, because when he saw his brother, when he got there, first of all, I like the banter between the married couple in the cabin, and he was like, "You made him soup." She was like, "Yeah." He said, "Are you telling me the truth?" Like, it was just very witty, very good, very old humor between a married couple that's been in the wilderness alone together forever, and
Yeah,
it
you could
came
tell
across.
that they probably are like alone even before that
Yep.
happened. Like, you said, you know what I really liked? That's pretty much all of episode 6, guys. They just get there, they talk to Zombie. That's pretty
Mhm.
much the logisticity of episode 6.
But they get
But
to where the
you jump it.
firefighters supposed to be, huh?
Yeah, I feel you. What I like about them is just how natural the conversation was.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Where Joel was like, puts the map down and says, "Point where we are on the map, and you better point where
What
where
your
your
wife
wife
said, yeah.
pointed." And the wife, and he's like,
You told
did you
them the truth?
tell him the right one?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you telling me the truth?"
Yeah, I thought it was dope because
And you can tell
maybe
the
she
wife
had.
had no f's given, like, at all.
No,
Like,
she was done with it. And
she's like,
but what he was
like,
saying
they
was,
fed me. No,
are you
she
trying to
fed
kill
them.
me?" Yeah, she did. She was so cute. She was so cute. She was so cute. It's like, and she was so cute in a grandma way. It was like, it was nice. And is these little pockets of
Here, I'll try to find a picture of them.
yeah,
Keep going.
it was these little pockets of joy that you could find in this dystopian world where everything is like crumbled to crap. But they still had their love. They were still there. Like Attic said, you could tell that they were with each other alone before the pandemic. And, they know where not to go and where to go, in the area. So they told them, don't go this way. But, it ramped up a lot when they did leave the cabin and they were venturing off and they made it to a river, but they thought that that first river was the river of death, but they realized that it wasn't, and the next river they got to was the river of death. And that's when they got circled by the posse and they let loose a dog that can sniff the fungus inside your bloodstream if you're infected. And Joel is so, see, right now you're
This is
getting
the
a
only
chance.
picture I could find of them.
Cool. You're getting a chance to see Joel's protective nature when it comes to Ellie. Because Joel, they're circled by a posse of horses and with mounted horses with guys with guns. And you know, Joel is like, damn, man, we're about to go out. And if I got to go out right now to save this kid's life, then he's going to do it. And the dog, they're so cute. And the dog went to go sniff, sniff Joel, and he was fine. And then Joel thought they was out of there, but he's like, nah, the girl got to get sniffed too.
Then
And
he got really nervous.
yeah, her blood situation. And then she starts laughing over there, and she's playing with the dog because remember she's a kid. She hasn't been out. She was born when this stuff was going on, so she hasn't got a chance to get outside. She doesn't know what the world looked like. She has been born behind the wall, um, and she's been occupied by Fedra, and the situation has always been bleak for them. So, she's getting a chance to see life, and she's outside with Joel, and she really hasn't had nobody there for her. So, and Joel has lost his kid, and he's his brother has started a life because he finds out that once they take him back to the camp, these are Tommy's people, and they take him back, and he sees his brother, and I mean Pedro Pascal, man, he can act. Like he generally looked like he didn't see this guy for a long time, and this was really his blood, and it was good, man. Said, do you think we get a flashback of the brother story, or do we have enough of flashbacks? Um,
I'm
It
a
was one flashback that I was really curious about, and we got that in episode 7.
yeah. We'll get to that here in a second. I think Joe's did okay. Petro's been okay being Joe, but I do feel like there's better people that could have played him. I don't know. Like there's certain times where I feel like I got that Joe vibe from him, and then there's
Right.
certain times where it's just like this isn't Joe. This is some random other dude. Like, but they get the appearance, they get the aesthetic, they get a lot of you know
Star
Joe's
power.
behavior down,
Hmm.
but I feel like his demeanor isn't there sometimes.
The
Like Joe,
diminishing grizzly bear demeanor,
no, it's just
the
that.
cocaine bear demeanor.
Oh my god, it's mainly about just the the energy that Joe put out in the game. You know,
Right.
like it was one of those things where I know you got me trapped, but I ain't going down like that. If it went down, I might go down, but I'm taking some of you with me. I feel like Pedro, though, and I know it's mainly probably script writing. It feels
Right.
like they're pushing his caring with Ellie too fast, because I think at that moment he shouldn't be that extra already. And I feel like she didn't have to do too much to break that wall down. And in the game, it was very hard for her to get Joel to see her as anything else than luggage. You know what I'm
All right.
saying?
But and here's the pushback. We don't have that many episodes.
But that's not my fault.
See, you say that a lot, but we got to play with what we're given, right?
Yeah, and what we're
So in the
given
game, you're
is
given
mid. Is
unlimited amount of time
is
to figure stuff
lukewarm.
out. But this right here, with what you're given and what you're working with, I think they're building a good enough thing because we know what happens, right? We just need to know the journey to get there. And they've done enough to give us a little bit of twists and turns. But let's talk about actual human interaction. Actual human interaction at some point in time, and you're in this world where you're alone and stuff like that, and you're in charge to care for something. Either you're going to totally reject it or you're going to accept it. And I believe he got to the point where there's an acceptance to it because with the second bite, he's like, nah, man, she's legit. Like, this is no BS. This is 100% legit. And I'm believing. I'm believing now. And then you
I
start to get the caring.
I just feel like Ellie's running this show. It's not Joel. I feel like there's too much letting, because that just doesn't seem like Joel. Joel is all about, look, I know you don't agree with some of the stuff I do, but I do it because I know it will protect us. But he just be like, oh, okay, Ellie, that's fine. Okay, Ellie, that's
But he's
fine.
giving
Like,
us small crumbs.
but I feel like
He's,
these
yeah.
crumbs are coming way too soon.
Oh, okay. Well, so you're talking about like, all right. So let's get to the crux of it. You're talking about when he decided to tell her that, yo, Tommy gonna take you, and then he backed down on that.
I think it's just mainly the entirety of the show, not just this particular episode.
So
You
you
know,
okay? So do you believe, and I believe this to be true, but this is just my assumption because I'm a conspiracy theorist. Um, do you believe that your lack of blood and a lack of following through with what the game gave you is souring you a little bit more, and a lot of the warts that's in the show is really irritating you more so than they would have if
oh,
they gave
I've
you more blood?
the well's definitely been poisoned. There's no
Okay.
denying that. Like, but I've always been 100% since the episode 1.
Right.
I want them to respect the Lord. Now, I will say the past couple episodes they've done okay with it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But like, I remember the first episode. One of the biggest things I seen Joe do that I was like, that Pedro do that. I was like, that's Joe. Is when he went up to that guard in like episode 1 or 2 and said,
Yeah.
"Yo, you gonna let me in that room?" And that guard was like, "No, I'm not." He's like, and he just looked at him. That stare, that you know who I am. Don't make
Yeah.
me do it. That is the Joe I know. But I feel like that's the only time
That he was
he's
Joe.
gave 100% making me believe this is Joel.
So then there's writing.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't think it's Pedro. I think it's the writing. But
Oh,
it's just
fair enough.
it's up to the writers to, okay, Joe, Pedro, I need you to act this persona a little bit. We need less of this and more of this. And I maybe it's they're giving a little bit more creative control to the actresses and actresses in general.
Yeah, hold on, let me get this $5 super chat from the Black Harry Potter. My man, I want to know who Attic thinks would play a better Joe, because Attic is tripping. Pedro is doing excellent. I'm with you, Black Harry Potter. I'm with you 100%. I don't know. I showed my wife Joel the character in the game, and she said, "Yeah, Pedro looked like he was born for that role."
Well, it's not about the aesthetics.
Right.
I've conceded to that. He does look enough like Joel to pass as Joel. It's just the tone, the demeanor, the vibe he's in the room. When he goes into a setting, he's always analyzing stuff. He's always looking for that exit out. I feel like there's not enough going on here. Like in the Joel, doesn't act like that. And I'm not saying it's like hugely off, but I am saying it's enough off that I notice.
Okay. Yo, we got 45 watching. We got 18 likes. Come on. I know we kind of messed up in the beginning, but come on, man. Save the pandas, man. Come on, man. Hit that like button. Subscribe.
So, I mean, I guess what we'll do is we'll go into episode 7.
All right, but 7. We didn't even finish episode 6, because they get over to the facility and they find out these dudes done clapped and got out of there. But while they inside, you got what you was looking for, didn't you, Addy? You got a little of human on human action. Pause. Let's go.
I feel you. I mean, when it comes to like the actual school scene, it was okay. But my
Joe
thing
got
is
stabbed for this, man.
But
come on.
It's just there's no interaction, man. There's no human interaction. Like we've seen the infected like twice this whole show. It feels like.
No.
Okay, we've seen it once in episode 5.
Right.
We've seen demeanors of them here and there, but we haven't really seen
the infected in episode 1. We saw. Did we see infected?
When I said like 2, I obviously I didn't mean literally twice.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying off of a show that is in a post-apocalypse world. I still do not feel like this is a post-apocalypse world.
I think we have a limited amount of episodes.
But once again, that's not my problem. That is their decision to give them 8-9 episodes. That's not my decision. My decision is you would have built up more of a narrative focus around what's going on. Look, episode 6 was good. I actually think that was one of the better episodes that's happened in a while.
So
but as far
how
as
many popcorn you give episode 6? Because obviously episode 6 is already a done deal to you.
I give it a 3.
What?
I give it a 3.
They what? They talked to the old couple in the beginning. They set it up nice for you. You get to the part where the tension where you think the dog is going to bite Ellie and they're going to shoot Joel in the face. But then he does it Tommy's people and they get to Tommy. And Tommy says, for his brother, he about to ride out for his brother and leave his pregnant wife here. Tommy don't want to go. But Joe said, I ain't got it in me, man. Tommy, I no longer that trigger dude.
Man,
Tommy.
That's not it. It's not it. I'm sorry. It's not it.
Come on, man.
My thing with the show is I want more of $5 super chat from the Black Harry Potter. So who would play the role better at it? Because you said I feel like some folks could have did a better. So who? Good sir. Here's my thing. The Black Harry Potter. It ain't my job to find out who's gonna play the role better. Okay, when Robert Downey Jr. ended up getting casted as Iron Man. I couldn't have told you he would have been a good Iron Man. I don't get paid thousands and huge salaries to go out there and cast people, but they do. I'm not saying that Pedro was the worst cast they possibly could have done. I think he's a decent, good cast, and then mainly the harps I have against the show has nothing to do with Pedro. It's how he's portraying Joe as a character. Just because the man looks like Joe to a degree does not mean he's acting like Joe the way you would have seen it in the actual game. I rest my case.
So Black Harry Potter, he can't find the guy, but
no, I'm not looking though. Like they,
yeah, but you gotta give a, for instance, if you're gonna say there's other people that could play a better role, I say this right, and I'm gonna get you off the hook really easy. He's the best dude that can play Joe. With the star power and everything involved with him, the script that they're giving him and the direction that he's getting is not good enough for you. How about that?
I personally feel like he does a decent job at playing Joel. It's just certain times he's breaking Joel's character and how Joel. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's not Pedro. It's the writing. It's Neil Druckmann. I personally feel like the show is a shell compared to the violence that was actually in the game, which. And people, you don't need all this violence. It's a post-apocalypse world that has been taken over by bad people and infected people. I'm sorry, but violence comes with that.
I hear you. But we got violence at the end of episode 6, and Joe gets stabbed. And
he got like a little.
He got like a little. Don't do that.
Hold up. He got. Hold up. He got attacked. He punched him into a tree, and then Joe got stabbed. Joe literally took him by. There was no beef. There was Joe just handled it. That's all.
Yeah, he got handled too.
And people saying, "Oh, he doesn't need." I see on Twitter people saying he can't be a John Wick, just going around. No one asked for that. But I do feel like every aspect that this show does, they intentionally go away to make sure that there's not much violence. If you really think about it,
Harry Potter's on your head, boy. I got
that's fine.
Harry Potter.
That's fine. If you really think about it, in a post-apocalypse world, in the kind of environment that's going around, Pedro, Joe in the Last of Us show. He has killed like 5 people, maybe 6, in all of the episodes.
But in the game,
because I don't even think he look. That's fine. There's a lot of people. That I would say the most he's killed is 10 by far.
But he killed infected, man. We gotta add infected in that too, man. He was shooting.
But they have no problem showing the infected getting killed.
Right.
They have they have literally replaced times where humans were supposed to be in the show with infected just to make it more.
It's more palatable for the people.
Oh my God, man!
I'm just saying, the kids need to watch too.
This is the first time that a post-apocalypse show has had this less violence. It's like they're literally on the bad side of West Virginia.
They did.
And they're driving around these back streets, and they're actually not in apocalypse. The episode 5. If you take away that episode, you could argue that this really isn't even in a post-apocalypse world.
Cut it out. All right. So you gave it how many popcorn?
I'll give this episode 3 popcorn.
I give it a 4. All right, it's not a masterpiece, but I did like the set pieces that they did have into it. And I do like the fact that Joel understands he's not the man that he used to be. And he realizes it was a bad choice for him to come downstairs and go with Ellie, because Ellie didn't even give him a shot to say, you can go with Joe, let's go. Gave him the book bag. We up out of here. Jump on a horse, and Joe gets stabbed. I'm like, if it was Tommy would have handled that dude. But Joe gets stabbed because he lost his.
And that's another thing. Why didn't he just have Tommy go with him?
Like, that happens later. That happens in The Last of Us 2. What happened there?
Oh God, they're gonna. I hope they butcher that story, because I know you love that story.
See, and then you're gonna have 2 different people here. because if they get a hold of Abby, first of all, if they mess up the casting of Abby, I'm probably not even gonna watch. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. And you know what I got to do? Because I done talk this game up. I'm this movie up so much. This show up so much. The Last of Us 2, that I got to play it and let my wife watch me play it, because she's like, oh, I want to know this Abby that you so in love with. And I explained to her it was a journey of the character that I was so in love with. It was revenge is an empty vessel. And when you go looking for revenge, make sure that you're digging two graves, because when you're digging that one grave for that one person, you're going in the next grave, because you're not going to make it out of that situation. And she hated the person that she turned herself into when she found that revenge, and she found that it was hollow and her life had no meaning after that situation. And she just followed the road to redemption, and she didn't want to go back to the old Abby. And that cost her a lot. She lost a lot in the game, and it allowed me to see it through a person who's I'm talking about truly seeking redemption, not a person that's looking for redemption for I guess for the people around them. No, for her inner self and her soul. So I felt that, and when certain things was happening, I just really felt for the character, and I thought it was a real good game. Probably one of my best games ever, to be honest with you. Story wise, good pacing, good stuff in it. I know a lot of people have problems with it. I really don't care about what they feel about it, because it was my money. But again, I said that is probably my best game because of that character and an interpretation of said character. But if they butcher that, I can tell you, I will be on this show telling you that they're done. All right.
So. I would have dropped this show 2 or 3 episodes ago if it wasn't for R&R. Part of me wants them to butcher that, just so you have to sit there and watch something you don't want to watch.
So now that we have given it a 4 and a 3 popcorn, yes, Joe, I gave you 4 because you took a stab to the belly, and I respect it because you was trying to save Ellie.
All right, so you know what? It's time that we go to episode 7. First off, this was the DLC.
Okay, that was my first question to you. I never got a chance to play the DLC at all, right? And really, I'm going into this episode completely blind, because it was a question that I've always had, regardless to what. Because remember, I had picked up the Last of Us, the first one. Was it the remake? The remaster. The remaster is the one that they just up-resed and put out on the PlayStation 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the remake is the one that they did for the PlayStation 5, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna buy, because I got the remaster. I'm gonna buy the remake because I picked up the Last of Us 2 again for my PlayStation 5, and I started playing the demo of the remaster. I think that game looks so incredible. It looks absolutely incredible. It's certain things that they did, with using some technology from The Last of Us 2 that they used over there, higher res stuff. So when I was watching this episode, I really didn't know anything about it because it was the DLC, and the DLC had came out, and I have long moved on from that. But now the DLC is available inside the original packaging. I'm going to check it out. So I can just give you my synopsis on how I feel about the episode, but you can give me it as a correlation to the game and the DLC that you did play, because you did play the DLC, yes?
Yeah. They stay pretty close to the game. There's stuff that they deviated from, but for the most part, it was pretty close. Now, here's like scenarios where in the game, when they were found by the infected,
yeah,
it was mad of them, and they were running through the mall trying to get away from them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They didn't really do that on here. And like another thing, it's like there's just one infected here, and I get it, but it would have been a lot nicer and a lot more. Because I think when I get annoyed is when there's decisions made that the game did better, but for some reason they deviated. Like, I get it. One did the same thing in all sense. It was just one that chased them around like one little place and then it ended. Like in the game, like
But
I
this
said,
one was aggressive, boy.
like in the game, they were running through the whole building trying to get away from a swarm of them.
Yeah, but see, the game is trying to sell you on time and content and trying to stall you out. Whereas this is on once the clock starts, it's 45 minutes to the end of this thing, and having a horde really wouldn't make any sense because she only has one gun. You had a couple of pipe bombs. You're really limited on exactly how you're going to dispatch these characters. So I feel one zombie or one infected would have done the trick, especially if he was aggressive as this one was, because he was hella aggressive.
I just personally feel like it should have been the other one.
I know you can't wait for The Last of Us 2.
Because it's just like, to me, you needed to tell me that this chick's in the Fireflies and it was 2-on-1 and this one infected was able to get both of them.
She was fresh into the Fireflies, man. She just came out of Fedra like a week or two ago. She was gone for like a week or two, and she's about to ship out. She's what, 17 years old? Get out of here! Come on.
I like the episode. I just personally feel like that particular scene, I don't understand why they changed it.
I do. Time constraints.
What was the rest of the time? They just walked around the mall, put nothing to the plot of the show.
But it's just showing you how Ellie. Okay. How some parts of her that will show up in The Last of Us, if you never saw the DLC, that shows up in The Last of Us 2, the genesis of certain things, right? And how that was explored. So I'm really curious to play the DLC now based off of this episode that I didn't see. So this was
a good episode though. Besides that good little knack thing that I felt like they could have done better. I actually enjoyed it. I felt like it was well paced. What
do you think about drinking dead man's whiskey though? That was disgusting. And the fact that I don't know what he had going on. I don't know if he
they don't even know what killed him. For all you know, the backwash could have infected them.
That's what I'm talking about. It's nonsensical, but I guess they felt that the alcohol killed the whatever was in it. Nah, it doesn't make any sense now.
Thawne says they spent 15 minutes on an escalator. I feel you.
Yeah, they did.
Man. I feel you.
They did, dog. Because they grew up in the behind the wall. They was told that the mall was full with infected. She's never seen an escalator, so stop coming.
You know what's the funny thing, though?
Eyes.
That what world they grow up in, King?
A dystopian world.
I mean, what's in the dystopian world?
A post-apocalyptic world.
And what started it?
The infected.
And why don't we ever see the infected?
We saw one. One was on.
We saw one. One.
He was on them. He was on.
You mean to tell me that you got all these people in this town and no one feels like they can go explore in the mall?
I want to know where they all went though, because they said if they just said it was over there. Yo, listen, I'm 100 with you. I felt there was a ton of inconsistencies in this.
I feel like if they would have just had like the same episode, make it like 5 minutes longer, and just have the last 5 minutes them running through the mall up to the roof, like was in the original game. Okay. Like that would have made a way better, a lot of more action paces in it. Like I said, this episode was decently paced, but it's just, once again, I feel like they're in like an abandoned town called Silent Hill and they're walking around the mall. Like to me, I just don't understand why all of the violence is downgraded and why the appearances of infected is at almost none. Like episode 5 made me feel like it was an apocalypse. Made me feel like there was actual fear at every round of every corner.
I was terrified in this episode.
The majority of this show literally makes me feel like they're in an abandoned town that's in West Virginia. That's literally what it makes me feel like.
Well, I was terrified in this episode because I knew it was one infected, one or two in there. There was too many dark shadows. And I said, they playing this music too loud. They in the arcade having too much fun, and somebody gonna bust through and bite them. Something gonna happen. And I always wanted to know how Ellie got bit. I mean, I've always did,
Mhm.
and that shout out to them for giving this episode that I got a chance to see that. I always wanted to know the genesis of her coming out, and the fear of the kid coming out to somebody else, and which was her best friend, but you understand why they had a bond now. And she was leaving and she wanted her to go with her, and it was heartwarming at that point. But then you have philosophical differences, whereas she's like, well, you become a terrorist, and I didn't like her reason for becoming a terrorist.
Yeah, Don got a point. How you not find an iPod but find a Walkman? Hey, King, tell me you didn't notice the big Sony on that Walkman.
Well,
Placement,
I
man.
had that
Item
one.
placement.
I had that one. Come on, man. Y'all gonna act like a lot of this stuff isn't set in a world that kind of makes sense. It kind of makes
I
sense.
like how they had Mortal Kombat in it, though. I really
You
like
see
how they
that?
had
You
Mortal Kombat.
see what it is he's looking for an iPod, but iPod wasn't made yet, right?
No, they
You see the trucks
2000.
and cars that they was driving.
Hold on, what year? Someone
They
put in
had
the chat.
Mortal Kombat
So
2.
20 years from now would be 2003. But before now, it'd be 2003 because they're supposed to be in our time frame. Hold on. Let's see.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
When was the iPad created?
They was
Not iPad.
playing Mortal
When was
Kombat
the
2.
iPod created?
October 23rd, 2001. According to Wikipedia.
Oh, so they was 2 years out. They ain't make it over there. That was a rural town, bro. That was too high class, B. Sorry, you get a Walkman.
I mean, I personally feel like there's probably there could have been technology like that, but Walkmans, I don't know because they had power.
I got it. Since you want to do that, I got to find out, when did Mortal Kombat 2 arcade machine come out? See, 1993.
Plenty of time. There's a reason that's in there.
I'm just gonna say, at least the Discman or the Walkman Sport. Yo, for real. My wife was like, "Yo, remember the yellow one?" I was like, "Yeah, I had the waterproof Jimmy with the with the gray buttons." Dude, the stupid thing about the waterproof one, the headset wasn't waterproof.
You're ridiculous. So coming into it, what was the things that you enjoyed about this episode? Because I like that you're coming from the concept of someone that didn't play the DLC, but you played the real the actual base game.
Yeah.
That you're watching this because you still have that experience from the real game as Ellie, but you don't have the experience of this particular DLC, this experience.
I heard about it, right? And they kept saying, "Yo, man, you got to try the DLC." And I think when Sony made it available, and I guess they made it for free if you brought the remaster, then you were cool. And I was like, all right, I got it. I have it there, and I saw it. I was like, I'll download it and play it after I play the regular game. And then just never got around to it. And then seeing this, because you have questions, and I guess Neil Druckmann thought let me go back and just fill in some of the gaps for certain things. And from all intents and purposes, I think he did a good job, because from what you're saying is that, he kept it pretty much the same, except for the fact that instead of one zombie, it was many.
There's a lot of changes, but I don't expect them to keep everything 1-to-1.
Right.
It's just, this is mainly just, I would want to feel like this is an actual apocalypse. That's probably my biggest criticism in this show is there's very few times where I feel like at any time people can just start dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. It always feels like they're in controlled environments, and they're always in some form of, because the majority of the show has been outside of civilization walls. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like they're outside civilization walls. It feels like they're still in them. And like, let me put it to you this way, okay? Attack on Titan. You're in the walls. You feel comfortable. The moment they leave them walls, at any moment something can go down.
You took my bars. I was just about to say, It feels like Attack on Titan. And I know what you're gonna say. When they're outside those walls on Attack on Titan, because you told me, yo, as soon as they get outside the walls, it's gonna get real. And I'm like, whatever. And then they get outside the walls and it got real. So I know I'm expecting it to get real. I don't know, man. It's somebody's judgment call. Somebody someplace is pulling the strings. And I guess, sometimes you gotta, eat the meal that's put in front of you. Sometimes it's palatable, sometimes it isn't. I thought this episode was pretty decent. It answered a question that I had for a long time. And I think it told a good story with a lot of tension in the background for me. The fact that they were playing in the arcade and she thought about it and she did all these things to get her there. My main question is, the infected heard them playing in the arcade machine, but she said the night before she was setting everything up. She set everything up. He didn't hear it. So she was living there for like a week or a month or something. I don't know how long she was there, like 2 weeks, something like that. But at no point in time did the infected feel her presence, notice that she was there, and felt the need to go and seek out, another person to infect. I just found it, again, a little hole in the thing, but it worked to tell a story, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I don't want people thinking that the past couple episodes I was happy with it. Like I'm not gonna. I don't think that the show has had like a huge dip. It's just season 2. I just want it to feel like an apocalypse. Like imagine having The Walking Dead and you don't see zombies the first season, rarely. Like Walking Dead, the first couple seasons, you could say what you want about later on in the show. And I think a lot of that criticism is valid. But the first couple seasons, one of the reasons that show succeeded is they kept the viewer on their toes, because at any moment a horde can come by, humans could come by. There was a lot of variables to be scared over. In this show, I just personally feel like I haven't had a moment like that. I haven't had a moment where I feel like at any time, we could see some running infected or anything like that. I feel like you wouldn't even know if you just came in there and you just watched a random episode here that's not like episode 5 or episode 1 to a degree. You wouldn't even know this is a show about infected humans.
This is true. I think they're trying to just build up on the Joel Ellie aspect and the fact that she is the Messiah to give the cure to the plague that's plaguing the world.
Yeah, so I mean that is what it is on that. But what the better question is what ratings, man? How many popcorn are you giving episode 7 of The Last of Us?
I found it a lot of things strange. I thought there was a lot of holes in a lot of the stuff. I got a chance to see Ellie's mindset and her level of disappointment when things happen to her. I struggle to give it a 4. I could give it a 3, but on the merits of the acting,
so you want to give it like a 3.5? Is that what you're saying?
But we don't have that, so it's
I can make it.
4.
You can give it a 3.5.
No. It's a 3 or 4. But I got to give you my reasons why.
A 4, a 3.5 popcorn.
Nah. I'm not giving no half popcorn. If you ever served me a half popcorn, I'm gonna throw it at you. I want either a 3 or 4. But you got to think, right? How hard is it to just act off another person? And for the most of the episode, it was just these two acting off of each other. And they did a good job. I really never liked the character, the person that's playing Ellie. Like I really never did. I never brought into her being Ellie.
I'm starting to really, she's starting to grow on me. Like
This is what I was going to tell you.
I still don't like her as Ellie as
Right.
far as like aesthetics, and I feel like at times she kind of breaks Ellie's character because I feel like Ellie in the game is more mentally strong than Ellie in the TV show. Ellie in
Don't
the
you
game didn't care about
don't,
anything.
don't you think that the girl from the Umbrella Academy would have played a better Ellie, but she's too old?
I feel you, and apparently they're gonna bring her back in season 2.
Oh God. Whatever. Hopefully she doesn't. Anyway, yeah, she's growing on me. But at the same time, I'm gonna give it a 3 popcorn. I'm gonna give the episode a 3 popcorn for the lost potential that I saw that was there, right? And I'm not going off of the DLC because I didn't play the DLC. I'm just going off of fresh eyes, a dude that's looking at a show, and I just thought that it was a potential there that they didn't capitalize on, but they did answer a question for me. And I really wished that they would have gave the episode at least 10 more minutes till you can see the steady decline and the psychosis that sets in on Ellie while she watches her best friend slash love interest descend into madness. And does she have to kill her best friend
I
slash
would
love
have
interest, or she has to lock her up inside the mall? And I really wanted to see that, and I thought they ducked out the window. And I swear to
I would
God,
have liked to have seen when Ellie realized she was immune. Like
right? But we both
one of
said
them's
that.
getting worse, one of them's not. She's like,
Right.
why is this going on? Because I feel like that's something they never really brought on. And we could talk about when it comes to the video game, they kind of ignore the fact that Ellie's immune. I
Right.
still don't know why they done that because that's a huge moment factor that you have to take into consideration. That this is an individual that is the only person in existence of that you know of that is immune to the disease. And I feel like in Last of Us 2, they kind of like, we're going to ignore that's happening now.
Yeah, well, but again, at that same time, remember, she put a tattoo on top of it, and she pretty much covered what the scars look like. I want to know who the hell gave her the tattoo. But again, that's something that we'll get to when we get to The Last of Us 2. What did you give it, Attic?
I think it's, I'm going to give this a 4. I actually really enjoyed the episode.
You see this,
Huh?
people? When he goes 3, when I go 4. When he goes 4, I go 3. This is crazy.
I'm stuck between 3 and 4.
Right.
But I feel like at this point, it's Addict, how much did you hate the show? I didn't hate this episode. So to me, they did enough to keep me interested in this episode that 6 did, and they just carried on with this. If 6 wasn't a good episode, this probably would have got a 3 because I felt like I was in, because I watched them back to back. Remember?
Right.
So I had 2 hours of greatness. Well, goodness. I wouldn't say greatness. I had 2 hours of goodness.
Yeah, really?
But most of the time when I watch these episodes of The Last of Us, I'm complaining at the end of it.
Right. I feel you.
So, you know, that's pretty much all when it comes to The Last of Us, episode 7. Like I said, definitely HBO, go watch that, man. I think the show's good. It's just, I feel like the longer the show goes on, the more people are starting to turn on it. Because I feel like this week no one talked about it.
Well, you noticed that it fell off the charts as far as YouTube algorithms and people running around and talk show hosts talking about it because the backlash that they received. So,
and one thing I will say, you can say what you want about the Halo TV show,
yeah,
but at least they're in a war. You know what I'm saying? You actually feel like you're in the Halo universe. It's just they messed up a lot of incidences in that Halo TV show.
Remember this day, February 28th, 2023, Addict says something positive about the Halo show in opposition to The Last of Us. I find this as a seminal moment, and I would like to take a bow.
I still don't like it. But what I will say is when it comes to the the environment, they do make you feel like they're at a war with the Covenant. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
from the
saying?
beginning,
And
you all
here
was
it,
at war.
it
Yeah.
doesn't seem. It really doesn't. And to a point, what I will say is there was more people talking about Halo at this point than there was about Last of Us. I really felt like no one was really talking about Last of Us this Sunday.
No, they weren't. And I'm with you. I mean, I saw a lot of people fall off from it. I guess, sometimes, you're not going to get ratings, but what you're going to get from the R&R with the Lord is you're going to get consistency. You understand? If we don't like the episode, if it's not ratings, we are going to cover it anyway because we have a commitment to y'all.
Yeah,
we're gonna finish this up.
you're always going to get situations. This is what you can look forward to every week. Me complaining about this show and King being in the middle.
Paul, hey, why is King in the middle? It's just two people. What's up? So this week we have 2 films, right? We have that Guy Ritchie film that's coming out. I forgot the name of it, something Operation. And we have Creed 3. I, on the other hand, have the unlimited pass. And my movie theater has 18 screens. So I'll be driving down the block to go watch both of those things. I'll take my son to go see, my son and my wife to go see Creed 3. And I'm going to go check out the Guy Ritchie film probably on Monday. Yeah, we'll check out the Guy Ritchie film on Monday to see what that's about. I really tend to like Guy Ritchie films, and it's probably one of his best films from what I'm hearing. So, and he does really good stuff. So it's going to be something to talk about. So next week I'm going to be talking about Creed 3. Hopefully we can find a solution for Addict to get this so he can do his homework. Or I'm going to find something on Netflix, HBO, or Paramount.
There was a movie that the chat brought up that was on Netflix. So is someone in there that I think
it was earlier, right?
It's called The Platform.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but apparently
I'll put it right here in my catch. When we get upstairs, I'll check out The Platform.
Yeah, so we'll watch The Platform. You know what I think we should start doing? We can give our fanatics obviously on here, but I think what would be cool is if we start putting like more in-depth reviews on Patreon and stuff and like stuff like that. So I mean, we'll talk about it going on that. Obviously, we're still going to talk about it on here, but there's only so much we can do. Like I'm talking about like the day it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I understand.
Because there's more. Because when you get that live thing, okay, I just watched it, so let me go into that, and I think that's the most thing I'm talking about. But I think first off, I want to say thanks for everyone coming through. We had like up to 70 people
Pinocchio. In here. Yeah, on God, Jay Gaiman, 1986. Pinocchio's on Netflix. I've heard some stuff about that Pinocchio, and I definitely want to watch that Pinocchio. I'll probably watch that Pinocchio right now before I go to bed. So that'll probably be something I'll be talking about because I heard good and bad things, and I always like to have my own opinion. Don't like to have anybody try my food before I eat it. So I definitely want to talk about it. So I do want to see Pinocchio. I'm a huge Pinocchio fan ever since a kid. And if you go back and watch Pinocchio now as an adult, it's a twisted story.
Yeah, and I just put the Patreon in the chat now. I do want you guys to, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are part of the Patreon and they've been there for a while, and you're missing out on a lot of different moments that we can give you. I want to know
who wants to get on the shows, man. Where are the people that you have the opportunity to be on IOP or R&R with the Lords, or you got Shazam coming up on the 17th. It's a lot of stuff that's popping, and I mean, wouldn't you want to be in the square too? We can put you in the center screen, have these conversations. We can talk about this stuff. Patreon is there. You want to ask us questions? Like, hit the questions. What's up?
Yeah, so I feel you on that. So like I said, okay, Patreon's in the description. Well, in the chat, go click that. Especially if you're already a Patreon,
Yep.
There's so much that you guys aren't having access to right now that I feel like you need to go over there. So definitely go check that out. Patreon. Right now we have a $5 tier where you can ask any question, one question to any of the shows we have. We have a $7 tier where you can see live reactions that me and King do, and you have a $10 tier where you can ask us to react to something. So definitely go there. I think we're trying our best to be better in terms of bringing value to that service, and I think you guys will enjoy that. But that's pretty much the whole show. Like I said, Patreon in the comment section below. I will be uploading this to the R&R channel. If you guys want to, you can go over there and sub there. And we'll see you next week. We'll talk a lot of stuff. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about Creed. For the most part, until I find out what's going on with this, I'm probably only going to be watching like the big stuff, like Scream, probably Scream, and like the Marvel movies like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Because we got to manage stuff until I figure out a solution.
But I'll be talking about everything I possibly can get my hands on, because I'm going to squeeze the hell out of this Ringo Unlimited.
Well, I'm just referring to like a full-blown spoiler cast. Like,
okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because we can't do that, so it's just really going to be... And plus, there's a lot of stuff going on, too. We will be at PAX East next month.
Yes.
Well, no, it's this... Oh, no, it's next month.
Well, it's next month. We still on the 28th. We on the last day. Yo, check this out. I want to thank the Black Harry Potter definitely for the super chats. Listen, anytime you super chat over here, that actually helps us on the road to PAX, getting to PAX and getting to our goals. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. It's not just necessarily over there when you I don't believe when you super chat on the Attic Show, it goes over there too, right?
Mm-mm.
No. All right. So, but when you super chat on Combat Talk with the King, when you super chat on R&R with the Lords, and when you super chat at ILP, Iron Lords Podcast, that stuff helps us get to the PAX showing. So trust me, it's going to be a thing. Like, every time we go to PAX, it's a real big thing.
I've been getting like a lot of emails here lately about PAX.
Yep. Ton of that stuff. I've been doing a lot of bookings. I've been checking all the games that's going to be there. Tons of studios have hit me up. So like, just getting your ducks in order and trying to hit in those 3 days, trying to hit 150 studios and give you at least 200 games of information and stuff that boots on the ground, not regurgitated information that other people give people and they go sort through and look through on the internet without leaving the comfort of their home. No, we're outside in the freezing cold in Boston doing what we got to do, and working as hard as we can possibly can to bring you the best information. And that stuff goes up to lordsofgaming.net, where you can find the finest writers and best opinion pieces in the game. Thank you so much for coming through today. And Addict, see you next week, brother.
Yeah, and what I want you guys to do, we got some people in the chat right now. Go over there and raid, because I can't raid them because YouTube has like weird conditions. Go there, raid our man Neo, man.
Save something Neo Sparks for me.
Yeah, go over there. Tell Neo Sparks that the Lord sent you, man. Go over there and chat it up with him. And until